Poppi's main USP is that they're a new soda brand, a new age soda brand.
Sorry to spoil the party, but Coke is here to rule.
In this episode of Influencer Matchmaking, where we have two creators for you. One is Pickup Lines or Sadia, and the other is Abbey. 4.2 million subscribers, so you have about 436 average views per video. It's one of the best comment analysis. What do you say to that, Shubham? Like 58% are negative?
Because Abbey's kitchen is not exactly, a non-political kitchen.
Not just food is cooked, is how I'll say it.
Oh, yeah, that's a better one.
Folks, we're in the thick of 2024. And in 2024, we're seeing a movement. A movement that has taken a bit of time to come to other parts of the world. But in the US, it's been brewing for a while now. This entire movement is, of course, of low sugar drinks, of beverages which don't have the sugar content like their predecessors did. One such drink and one such brand that we're going to speak about is actually the first brand on influencer matchmaking that was featured on Shark Tank. We're talking about none other than Poppi. Now, Poppi was formerly known as Mother, but Poppi's main USP is that they're a new soda brand, a new age soda brand, and the number of calories per can is about 25, depending on the variant, which is a very, very wide difference from what traditional soda companies have been doing and the number of calories there. But here's the kicker. Coca-Cola, which is of course known as one of the biggest and most well-recognized brands in the world, is planning to acquire Poppi. But how does Poppi go from here? Because they had a Super Bowl spot. They have some influencers that work with them, some creators that work with them. So how does Poppi go from here is what we'll be covering in this episode of Influencer Matchmaking, where we have two creators for you. One is called, Shubham, I love the name. I already told you about the name. One is Pickup Lines or Sadia, and the other is Abbey, right? So we have these two creators. We're going to be speaking about them and how they can really pull the narrative forward or push the narrative forward for Poppi. But before we speak about the creators, as we always do, Shubham, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. You must have already seen my heart because I'm a big
Yes,
Coca-Cola fan.
absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely. I
I
know for a
love
fact that
Coke.
you're a Coca-Cola fan, and Coca-Cola might be acquiring this company, which is obviously very interesting news.
Yeah, interesting.
So
Not very exciting for me because we anyway get, our fruit juices from, let's say, fruits directly, not from a
sure,
brand. So, but it's a good movement. But, like, sorry to spoil the party, but Coke is here to rule, right?
Coke
It's
is
kind of,
definitely going
even
to
if
rule.
the calorie count is through the roof and, it's very sugary and everything, Coke is something that I love. That's why I agreed to do this episode.
Correct. No, of course, Coca-Cola is one of the legends when it comes to like just an
Soda,
American consumer
a
brand.
dirty word.
That is exactly right. It's just one of those iconic brands and iconic drinks, really. But Poppy is now coming into the picture. But Shubham, we have two very interesting creators. I would say kind of similar yet very dissimilar in most ways. We have Abbey Sharp and we have Pickup Lines, right? And they're going to be telling us, and we're going to be seeing through that Inside IQ, folks. The link for Inside IQ is in the description. Please do check it out. Please give it a spin because we use it every time for all episodes on influencer matchmaking. And today is no different because we'll be using this to analyze how they are as creators and how Poppy can perhaps use them for their marketing campaigns. Shubham, who should we go first? Should we go for Miss Abby or should we go for Miss Pickup Limes?
Let's go with Miss Sharp, Abbey Sharp.
Miss Abby Sharp. All right then.
Yeah.
So, folks, again, we're using Inside IQ to see how Abby Sharp is doing on her YouTube, and let's see how it goes.
I'm just, waiting for the day Elon Musk buys Coca-Cola and puts Coke back in it. That's what.
That was of course a rumor that started with Mr. Musk himself, but it really is up to anyone's guess as to when that will happen or when we'll find the first Coke on Mars, which is also interesting to see how it is. But folks, now we have
Yay!
Abby's Kitchen or Abby Sharp. That's her name, and Abby's Kitchen is like her creator moniker. And Shubham, Abbey Sharp is a registered dietitian, so she's an RD, an avid food writer and blogger, a TV and radio personality. So clearly, a lot of things in one, right? Like she's a personality who has multiple facets to her, right? She does a lot of things, and her performance, I would say, is interesting because with
Yes.
669K subscribers, we're having 116K average views per video. What are your thoughts on that?
That's damn impressive, because we have said it earlier, like you usually get 10%, of your subscriber count as your
Correct.
average views per video. But this is amazing. It's almost one sixth or one fifth. So almost
Absolutely.
20%. So it's amazing.
Absolutely. And engagement rate is also, of course, higher. And, this is the beautiful thing about Inside IQ, that you can actually now understand the median of what, of the engagement rates that
Your
you find in
niche.
similar
Correct.
creators,
Median of your
right?
niche.
Exactly. In your niche. And that's higher for Abby. That's at 0.84%, and 5.5K, right, average likes per
But
post.
what's interesting, Shri, is the average likes per post, which
Yeah,
is almost just 5%
sure.
of the
Sure.
number of views. Because
Correct.
Abby's kitchen is not exactly, a non-political kitchen. It's very loaded. So
I love that. I love the fact that you say that it's a political kitchen, and that it's a lot of action goes on there in terms of, there are
yeah.
lots of opinions that fly around, and not just food is cooked is how I'll say it.
Oh
So
yeah, that's a better one.
yeah, but let's also look at her top content, Shubham, which is about a lot of free hunger crushing combo ebook. She speaks a lot about, again, her other products. It's not just her YouTube. She's a
Yeah.
registered dietitian, so she clearly has loads of other products that she speaks about, and she speaks to a lot of other doctors and creators. What I Eat in a Day is a very popular sort of IP that she has, where she interviews other doctors and other people in general, and does I think her genre, I would say, Shubham, is edutainment, right? Like, she does education, of course, but it's also sometimes she tries to be entertaining, right? So I think that's where I would
A bit
fit
of
her.
activism as well, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. A bit of activism for sure. So we clearly see that in her top content, which is done, which is done decently well. But now going to the comment analysis, Shubham, and here is where
Hmm.
we can have a very interesting discussion, because intent to buy, of course, 6.63%. I would say is not too bad. It's pretty healthy, I
Not too
would
bad,
say,
yeah.
right? It's one of the better ones that we've seen. But here, when you go to the audience
Hmm.
sentiment that Inside
Buck
IQ
stops
uses
here.
using AI, what do you say to that, Shubham? Like, 58% are negative?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, because usually what happens is people who have negative opinion of some piece of content, they will not say anything.
Not
So
say
they will
anything. Yeah,
usually come under neutral. So
correct.
I always go to the extent where I include neutral
That's a
comments
big,
in the negative space as well.
sure,
So for me, it's close to what 70%,
sure.
which is not showing a good positive intent. And it's again, Abby's kitchen is not very non-political, so I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, a lot of people, perhaps they get miffed, or they get angry, or they get cheesed off with her content being, as you mentioned, not non-political, and perhaps people don't want advice on this. But Poppy, on the other hand, is a brand that wants to sort of get this word across that, hey, sugar's bad for you, and we're coming with a new range and a new offering. So there is a bit of cohesion here, that okay, sure, both people want better lifestyles, but the way perhaps Abby's doing it, the audience isn't really sitting well with it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
for a brand manager, this should be a bit alarming number.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And and this is a confusing spot for the brand manager, because sure, your videos are getting an average number of views and the likes, but the comments, right? And this is what the beauty of using AI for audience sentiment is, that the comments themselves aren't really healthy, right? So
Yeah.
that can be a decision maker. And of course, we're yet to check up, we're yet to see what pickup lines, what she has in store for us. But so far, some positives, but this is a glaring negative that we have
Glaring
for
negative. And
Abbey
I would
Sharp
also
and for Poppy.
add one point here, Shri, because a lot of brand collaborations, an ideal brand collaboration should be, longer term collaborations. Should not be just one post or two
Sure.
posts. It should be over a period of, let's say, 10 months, 20 months,
Mm,
30 months, right? Where you're producing like 10, 15, 20 videos. So for that also, this is a even a bigger red flag, because you want to work
absolutely.
with someone who's getting some good positive numbers. You can work with her for one or two videos, but that is not going to be fruitful for a brand manager.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a very good point here, Shubham, because um, oftentimes what I've seen people think about influencer marketing and creator marketing is that, oh, it's just a one time thing. But why can't you think of creator marketing as something that's much more long term and much more holistic, right? It's not just a one off. If that person becomes associated with the brand, you'd want there to be a positive word around the brand, right? And
Yeah.
Abby, unfortunately, given how things are, she's not really being able to hit the mark.
Yeah.
Now, Shivam, let's go on to another interesting section that we always cover on Insight IQ and on influencer matchmaking, which is around growth and interest. Subscribers have been growing steadily, right? So if you look at November 2023, which was about 6 months ago, 630K, and now she has 670K. So 40K subscribers in a matter of few months. So clearly,
It's
people might be
amazing.
miffed by the comments, like in the comments, but they are subscribing to a channel.
Yeah, she's growing really, really fast. That's just
Absolutely
amazing. And she's almost at 677K now,
correct.
which is amazing. Like she has like 50K more subscribers within the last few months.
Absolutely.
That's just
In the
amazing.
last few months, which is just incredible. And then, of course, very popularly on Inside IQ, we see this entire change in November and December, right? We see some dips. Sometimes there's a huge dip, sometimes there's a huge rise because of holiday, people in their holidays. Sometimes they do consume YouTube content and sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. So look at this little mountain, this little peak that we have,
Yeah.
which is that, which is quite high. And then, of course, we have steadily falling as well. So perhaps people are subscribing to a channel, but they're getting irritated. They're commenting, like they have negative comments, and the likes, the monthly trend of average likes per post, that has decreased. Right, so subscribers have been rising, which is a good
Yeah.
sign. Where so your brand manager is happy, but then if you look deeper, so it's one of those creators that on the surface, hey, amazing, okay, I'm in.
Amazing. Yeah.
Once you dive deeper, problems emerge, right? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is very interesting to me.
And you know what? This peak can also be looked at from a different angle, because when you have sort of activist kind of content on your channel, right? It is based on issues as well. If something
Sure.
happens, let's say, of course, something keeps on happening in the world. If it in
Yeah.
line with what you're creating, you may get more likes. You may get
Sure.
that traffic towards your channel. So, but that is not very sustainable. So again,
Absolutely.
from thinking from a brand manager's perspective, may not be a really this peak may not be very useful.
Well, absolutely. I think that's a great way of deducing things as well, because people need to realize that not everything on the surface is what the actual story is. Right now, Shubham, if you go to audience distribution, this to
Wow.
me really stood out because it's 93% almost are female.
Have you seen anything like this before?
I don't think so. I
I
really
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so.
Yeah.
Um,
Amazing.
this skew, right? This entire skew of, which makes me wonder if the men are the ones who are posting negative comments, or if it's the women themselves. But this is just insane. Never seen anything like this on for any creator, for any niche. Such a high skew, right? We usually, sure, we do see a 70-30, we do see a 80-20, but a 93-7, that is just
Yeah.
some next level.
And
Right,
look at
and of
the
course it helps that.
location. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
entirely Western audience.
absolutely. We have 52% in the states. So Shubham, I do sort of appreciate this, because of course Coca-Cola, based out of the US, they will be doing a lot of content, from the US, and Poppi is of course, based in the West as well. So see some alignment here, highly skewed towards female. So if that's what they're targeting, then I think this can be a good option, right? Like
Yeah,
then
that's true.
it's very polarized, but I think it's good.
Yeah, if it's a brand which is let's say predominantly for females,
Sure.
then you can consider Abbey. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Then Abby is a good sort of part of your consideration set. And as you mentioned, Shubham, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, everything is like the first world, developed world
yeah.
countries. So that to me is also very interesting to see what type of content are people from these countries consuming. But last of all, Shubham, are the demographics, right? And look at this tower here, which is the
Sixty
18 to
percent
24-year, 60%,
very young
which is just to me
audience.
is after this is just consistently falling. But again, I think I have a very strong archetype of who Abbey Sharp is talking to, right? So you have a female living in the US, who is around 80 to 24 years old. So if Poppy were to do a marketing campaign specifically targeting people in this age range, this demographic, I think, and of course, we've spoken about the comments and whatnot, that they're not really healthy. But
Hmm.
given the sharpness of the demographic, given the niche, I think she's a good bet so far.
Yeah,
So that's been there. Any overall thoughts on Abby, Shubham, before we go on to our next creator?
I mean, it's one of those, creators. Abby is one of those creators where you have to find the right brand. Not
Yeah,
every brand is for, for Abby or creators like her.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, she is growing very fast. She has a very niche audience of women, 60% 18 to 24. So, if you're targeting a very young audience, specifically females, go for Abby. It's a no
Yeah,
brainer.
absolutely, absolutely. So go for Abby if you're targeting that demographic. But right now, Shubham, we're not done yet because we
Yeah.
have the next creator.
Pick
We
some lime.
have yeah, we need some limes. If life is giving us lemons, we can get some limes. We have pick up limes, Shubham. So let me just share my screen and really discuss what
Yeah.
pick up limes is up to. She's actually very beautiful as well. Now that I think about it.
Oh, it's a good
Yeah,
observation.
yeah. Shubham, we have none other than pick up limes, right? And bio says welcome all foodies and beautiful souls. So right off the bat, you know the kind of videos that you're up for, right? Like
Yeah.
you know that okay, it's going to be plant-based lifestyle. That's the zone that we're going to. Now let's look at this again. Very interesting performance. 4.2 million subscribers. So right off the bat, obviously much higher than what Abby has to offer. And
Yeah.
what we always discuss, which is the 10%
10%.
range here,
Yeah.
also it's true, right? So you have about 436 average views per video. Comments are about 1k, 22 likes, 22k likes per video, and engagement rate is at 0.53%, which is higher than that.
Amazing. I mean, she's also growing very, very fast.
She's also going very very fast. Looking at the top content, Shubham, this is where I think it's pretty interesting. Although I would say, and this is something that again people with um, you know our sharp viewers at Thousand Faces Club can notice this, that her top content is, look at this, from 2018 to
Hmm.
2017, 2017 again. So one
Hmm.
might argue that the best days of pickup lines are in the past, or like she's been creating for a very long time. But I would also say that she has built an audience over that time, right? Like she's really genuinely built a crowd that or like just people who love watching her content and love subscribing to the lifestyle that she has, right? Which is of course
Yeah.
vegan and healthy, and Poppy might want to sort of tap into those audience sets, right? So that's there. But let's look at this show. I think what do you think about this, like right off the bat? This is just
So
incredible.
it's a bed of roses. It's a Eden of, Garden of Eden. Sorry.
Garden of Eden. It's a vegan bed of
Mhm.
roses and a
Yeah.
garden where there's only plant-based stuff available. Because this, folks, I think is one of the best comment analysis in terms of the intent to buy. Right, where we get a average of people are interested to buy the products that the creator is speaking about, which is at 15%. But the audience sentiment, folks, is at
Amazing.
93.5%. I mean,
The
I'm
negative is
just
just a tiny dot,
tiny
1.55.
dot, right? And if you compare it to Abbey Sharp, things look very different. Things look
Yeah.
extremely different there because quite a lot was negative. Here we can say it's almost everything is positive, right? Like it's a very I'm feeling happy myself. Like I feel like a very nourished soul, as pickup lines was mentioning in a bio, because so much of positivity all around.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, clearly her content is matching with, the kind of intent she's, like targeting from her audience. So
Absolutely.
amazing.
So
Content is
there's
for sales and souls, and it's clearly visible.
clearly visible, clearly a great match there as well, which I think in Poppy can, and the brand managers at the
Yeah.
Poppy headquarters. Poppy
It's a
headquarters, I don't know, this
match for
sounds a bit
Poppy.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, see,
just
in influencers, in this era of influencers, your
Mhm.
headquarters are these influencers,
Sure.
right?
Interesting point.
They are roaming
Interesting
around
point.
with your brand. They are talking about your brand. They're using your brand. So, pickup line Sadia is her name. She's like number one. She should be number one in their priority list for
Absolutely
Poppy,
number
of
one in
course.
the priority list. Yeah,
Yeah.
for Poppy, and again, I love the what you said about humanizing the brand and that she's a walking, talking, like she carries the brand with herself, and I can really see a great match with her and Poppy, because again, it's soda is obviously referred to as not the healthiest of drinks, but the moment you give it a spin that here, you know what, it's a part of your lifestyle, that we're not
Yeah.
really promoting sugary drinks, and you can have it with, let's say, a vegan item that you're having, and this can be a nice refreshment. And kombucha, of course, is positioned as a soda that goes very well with vegan food. So I think Poppy can go, have some lime sprinkle on the top, some pickup limes sprinkled, and some squeeze on the top, because this is clearly a good fit so far.
Yeah.
When it comes to interests, right, growth and interests, very interesting graphs here. She's at 4.14 million in
Yeah.
November 2023, and growth hasn't been exponential, I would say, but at the same time, we do see that it's gone from 4.1 to 4.2. It's still 100,000 subscribers that have been added to her base, right? So I think that has been
Nice.
very interesting to see.
Yeah. It's
But again,
amazing.
it's very impressive.
It is.
And we're looking at the likes growth now, Shubham, which is, look at this, right? We always have the November, December, January anomaly. This time it's no different, although this time it's happening slightly in January
Yeah.
itself,
It's
which
interesting.
is
Yeah.
this peak. So people in December, I think, just loved it. They're like, oh damn, this is so good. I have another theory for this, Shubham, is that
Okay.
in December, January, after your vacations are done, your holidays are over, people want to imbibe the healthy lifestyle. People want to imbibe the
Mm.
whole thing of being, oh, it's first January, I want to start afresh. I want to cut down on a lot
Right.
of junk. And then you see her videos, which is, of course, it's not as high as, let's say, January was, but it's still sort of, maintains some sort of
Yeah.
stability. So
Good
we have
point.
her likes growth also being very impressive.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the better thing is, if we compare this with Abby's content, she has a cadence. This peak
Yeah,
will come every season, right?
absolutely.
Unlike Abby's, which is based on some random thing that is going on in the world. So for
Absolutely.
again, for a brand manager's perspective, it makes total sense to work with Sadia in January, or start
Correct.
working from December itself, and
Correct.
produce content strategically.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think great point that you mentioned, that cadence is there, and people want stability. People want predictability when they're working with creators. So I think that obviously gives us some brownie points. Let's look at this, Shubham. A bit of difference here, and obviously some glaring facts as well. But when it comes to Sadia or Pickup Limes, still very very focused on females. Let's not discount that, right? Just because we
Yeah,
had 93% with Abbey,
this
this
is
is
also
still
very
very
good.
very
Yeah.
healthy. This is also extremely focused on the female cohorts, which is at close to 80%, right? So that's very impressive. But Shubham, what are your thoughts on the audience location, right? Because now we have India in the mix at
Yeah.
12%, at 13%, which is again quite a huge number, and US is at 27, which is not at 50 as we saw it in Abby's case. So what are your thoughts on the audience location?
I mean, clearly, again, comparing these numbers with Abby's numbers, you need Indian audience to go to that next level. You
Hmm.
have to come out of, that Western focus to come towards Eastern, the demographics. And it's clearly working, because for her, it was almost 60% USA, and it's here 30%.
Sure.
So I'm sure the big chunk has gone towards India and other countries.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and it again speaks about, like how your content is accepted across cultures, right?
Sure.
So Poppy can use Sadia's, let's say, platform to,
Hmm.
to be seen in India as well. So
Absolutely.
an added
Absolutely. That
bonus.
that
Yeah.
That's if it so requires, if Poppy is a brand that wants to do a global launch, then I think Sadia's channel Pickup Limes is a great option, because you
Yeah.
have the Indian audience, you have the Indian cohort, also very dedicated as a subscriber base. Number two on the list when it comes to the geographies. Of course, the US grabs the first spot, and lastly, Shubham, we have this, which I would say is quite similar to Abby, right? Some similarities here, as we were discussing before this thing even started. That there are some similarities. So this one is certainly one of them, where we have 53%. I think she was at 60%, if I'm not wrong, Abby,
Yeah.
and Sadia is at 53, and then of course we have a huge chunk at 31, from 25 to 34, 31%, and then sort of tapers off. So similar audience demographics.
Yeah.
So the ideal customer profile also is, I would say, similar, right? But what are your overall thoughts, Shubham, on Pickup Limes?
I mean, it's a no-brainer for, a brand like Poppy. You just
Yeah,
go. and create content with her. You sign a long term deal and make Sadia your brand ambassador. It's a no brainer.
Absolutely. I also think, right from the name, which is Pick Up Limes, Poppy is again into fruit based, sodas
Yeah,
and whatnot. So clearly, some, we have some similarity and some cohesion or some sync. As you know, as marketers have to call it, that there is a sync between the brand and us, between the creators and us, and clearly there is. So I would also, agree with you, Shubham, that Pick Up Limes, she's a great channel, a great way to get the word across of having a healthy lifestyle. And for Coca-Cola, of course, now that Coca-Cola will come into the picture, I think for them also it's going to be a strategic bet to go
yeah.
with a creator like Pickup Limes, because they can really promote this entire thing of not just the drink, not just Poppy as a drink, but the lifestyle, right, of a healthy lifestyle which has less sugar, which has more of activity and more of calm and peace and whatnot, and all the lovely little beautiful words that we have. But that's it. We have chosen our winner for this episode, Shubham. We are both going with Pickup Limes, but let us know in the comment section what you thought of this episode, and who would you go with? Would you still take a bet on Abbey Sharp, or would you go for Pickup Lines? Let us know in the comments below. We use insightIQ, folks, for all our discussions on influencer matchmaking. So do give it a try if you're a brand manager, if you're a marketer, if you want to see if creators can be a good fit with your brand for your next marketing campaign. I would highly suggest you check out Inside IQ, which is again in the description, as I mentioned. Let us know in the comments. Please do give us a like, and please do subscribe to the Thousand Faces Club channel, because we come up with videos every week around creator marketing, around influencer marketing, around the creator economy. And we have some fireside chats as well, which Shubham does. So please do check those out as well. We will be back next week. I'm Shreevar.
I'm Shubham.
All right. See you. Bye bye.